I'm here at the Hamburg Film Fest, and with me is the legend Ken Loach. So thank you very much for joining me. After the screening of Sorry We Missed You last night, I was in tears and extremely angry. Not at the film, it's brilliant, like all the other films you did, but at our society, for that something like this is even possible. The people are being treated like they're worth nothing. And I'm glad you brought that topic up, and thank you for that from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
So, but I'm done just knowing these circumstances. I think it's time that we're all going to do something about it. And when you did the research for your film, did you ever find out why the politicians think that this is just as acceptable?
Well, I think what's happened is the work that used to be secure, have a secure job and a wage that would bring up a family, give you a home, give you food, give you security. That's going and being replaced by precarious work where you don't know how many hours you'll work next week, you don't know what your wage will be, you don't know if you'll keep your job, insecurity, and that has a bad effect on families, has a bad effect on everyone, in mental health, in stress, in all those things. And it's a product of the free market. Most politicians don't support the free market. It's implicit in the European Union. And harsh competition between big companies means they're driving down labour costs, and that's what leads to precarious work, because it's not so expensive for the employer. So how do we deal with it? Well, the parties of the right believe in it. This is what they want. If we leave the European Union and Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, he wants more of it. More precarious work, more deregulation. The parties of the left have to oppose it. They have to restore trade union rights. They have to have more public investment, public ownership, so that we can plan our economy and plan to give people a wage that is secure and a job that is secure, and then they can live in security with dignity and respect. So that's the struggle. It is a big political struggle.
I also think that this topic should be in the media every single day, just until this problem is being solved. Do you think that the actual media is at least partly responsible for not covering it enough?
Well, the media is by and large owned by the right wing. I mean, the newspapers, certainly in our country, I don't know about here, are owned by very rich people, and their interest is in keeping the system as it is. And as I say, this problem comes from within the system. It isn't bad people acting greedily. It's a systematic. It's a result of a systematic process. So we have to change the system itself, and politicians haven't acted, and the media hasn't acted, because by and large they support what is happening. The television companies are, in our case the BBC is a state institution, it just supports the status quo. So you need a political movement that represents the interests of the working class to make the changes, otherwise they won't change.
The problem is that people, like the family in your film, are more and more feeling left behind, and like the government doesn't care about their well-being. And like you said yesterday before the screening, the anger is very dangerous because it could go into the wrong direction. What do you think of it?
Well, as you say, I mean, this situation, the insecurity, stress, exploitation makes people angry, and the anger can be used to change the system, or it can be used by the right wing, the populist right, to blame the wrong people, to blame people who are poorer than you, to blame the immigrants, to blame some anonymous bureaucrat, to blame people of a different colour skin. It can be used to divide us. The anger is important if we can use it constructively to make the changes. The anger's dangerous if it gets behind people like Trump, and in our case Boris Johnson, or the far right in Europe, where immigrants are blamed, who are in desperate trouble themselves. So then it's dangerous, but we've got to make certain we use it creatively.
When I see the protest of Fridays for Future, for example, I'm confident that people can and will stand up for their rights. But what can we do to get people getting involved instead of losing them to some right-wing populists like Trump or Johnson?
Well, I think we have to. It's a question of political leadership. You know, we have to say, look, you don't have to live with this stress. You don't have to live in this trouble. You don't have to live with this insecurity. Let's use technology to solve these problems, not make them worse. Let's demand secure working. Let's demand trade union rights. Let's publicly invest our funds into our collective wealth, into a green technology that will protect the environment, and at the same time give you security at work. We have to deal with these. We have to deal with the issues that concern people and offer hope. And we can do that. You know, we have this extraordinary technology, can feed everyone. We can do it. It's just that the knowledge is controlled by those who wish to exploit. So it's a question of political leadership, and it's a massive struggle, and we've got to fight really hard for it.
In your films, you've always dealt with society problems. For example, the welfare system in I, Daniel Blake. Have you ever noticed that something really changed for good because you made a film about it?
Peripherally, a long time ago, 60 years ago, over 50 years ago, did a film about housing, about homelessness, and that's changed the law in that before families were split up, you know, the father wouldn't be given temporary accommodation with the family, and after the film, where we showed a family split, they changed the rule, and the fathers were accommodated with their wives and children. But it didn't change anything substantial. It needs a political movement. You know, a film can ask a question, it can make you care about something, but it's not a political movement.
But where did you get your strength to still carry on and make another film?
Well, there's so many stories to tell, aren't there? And I work with a fantastic writer and a wonderful team, and we do it as a collective. You know? It's not just me. I think when there are these extraordinary stories to tell, then if you're able to tell them, why not? But I don't know. You reach a point where you have to wind down. I don't know if I'm there yet.
Opposed to I, Daniel Blake, there's not even a glimpse of hope in this film. Why did you do it this way?
We want to leave the problem with the audience. You know, I mean, it plainly is wrong. So it's a responsibility for you now. How are we going to solve this?
Okay. I personally hope that there will be a lot more films from you. So is there anything that's coming up you can already talk about?
No, not yet. We're still in the thick of this one, but I don't know. I honestly don't know, to be honest. It would be nice. But
yeah, it would be really nice.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the interview, and good luck with the film, and I hope to see you again.
Okay, thank you. Hope to see you again. Okay. Cheers.
Lovely, cheers.